Almighty God, Lord, we thank you for the blessing and the privilege to be able to have been called into this light and to be chosen to do this great work. As we continue to strive for understanding, we ask you for the blessing of your Holy Spirit to be with us, to guide us and direct us and to bless us. Lord, we know that it is that it is the harvest time for the Levites and the latter rain for the Nethinims. And the priests are still not ready, Lord. Please help us not only to be ready, but Lord, many that are set to be overthrown. We pray that all would be accepting of this message and the light that you've shined on this path, and that will light the path the entire way. May you be with us tonight as we test our minds with review and help us to better understand actually with Gamergate as well and its connections. We praise you and thank you, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so we read a bunch of that over the last couple of weeks. So just a real quick thing, the one that we read last week, I don't think I posted it because Jackie and I both, I wasn't concerned about myself, but I didn't ask Jackie. Both of us talked about some personal stuff that may or may not have been helpful to others, but I didn't ask Jackie yet. But Gamergate was the situation that happened in 2014. How much do you understand Gamergate to begin with, what it was?
Well, I was just trying to look at it actually before you guys were on here. And what I was seeing was that there's like these guys that are feeling like, well, in the beginning of the article, it's that Max guy. And the lady goes to interview him. Is that the right one?
That's one. That's not the one we did last week, but yeah, that's one of them.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one I was trying to look at. And, you know, she's setting the stage sort of like who this guy really is and that kind of stuff, Max. And then they talk about the Gamergate people kind of came out of, if I could remember, it's like, they're like, okay, their guys have to be in the military and girls get off, and guys have to take the really dangerous jobs in agriculture and I don't know where else, but the dangerous jobs, and the girls don't have to. So it's like the guys are the victims about all this stuff. And you know, I really, that's, well, isn't that those people? The Gamergate, that's kind of where they are. They're the victims of society going more in the direction of well, going in the more direction away from men being in charge, let's just say. And they're festering and mad about this whole thing. Am I on the right track at all?
Yeah, somewhat. So you got the male and the female, and you have feminism, the women's rights movements, fighting for their rights, fighting for equality, that has developed, and this is back not just 2014. This goes back to the women's rights movement and all that in second wave feminism, but then began some men's rights movements, and that particular article does refer to the men's rights movements. And generally the men's rights movements were fight against, crying out, I'm the victim, and crying out for their rights. Like you just pointed out, like those, we have to go fight in war, and women want to go fight in war. So I don't know how they say that, but anyway, so it was men believing that they're the victims, but the thing that they're fearful of losing is their power and their dominance, that whole patriarchal structure. So Elder Tess points out that in that particular article and others, that a good part of them come from the libertarians, and also either atheists or non-religious. So that's an overview. And then in 2014, Gamergate was about the whole gaming industry, online, video games, that stuff, gaming industry. Oh, you guys, and I won't use the word I did with my son the other day when we were talking, but games came to be all about guns and violence and women. Okay.
That's what Kathy's.
That's how I understood it had to do with the video game and the
What'd she say?
sexism.
Yeah.
She says that's how she understood it with video games and the sexism and the misogyny.
Yeah. And so there was a woman, Zoe Quinn. Got to remember the Zoe Quinn that developed the game, and it was about depression. And you can read up on it. That's in the other article that we read last week. There was rumor. There was her ex-boyfriend, if I remember right, Zoe's ex-boyfriend posted details about their relationship publicly, and that stirred things. Then the gamer men took that and ran with it and made it all worse, from what I remember of the article. But basically, it's saying that the gaming industry is about men, and women want to come in and take and bring their feminism in here. And so then they resorted to online, what's the word online, harassment. Thank you. I was going to use the doxing one, but we had to get to the harassment first. So online harassment, and to the point of threatening murder and rape, and coming to their homes, posting their addresses to where these women had to actually flee their homes. So that went on. And then in 2016, what we read last week, I think it was an article that Elder Tess referenced. It was a December 1, I think it was, 2016 article in the Guardian that talked about how everything that you're seeing here, it's December 1, 2016. We know what we were seeing here. Donald Trump is now the elected president. He's not yet inaugurated, right? He's president, and everything that you're seeing here, they just went through the campaign, and all that you saw the Hollywood Entertainment, is that the one, what it's called, where where he was caught live talking to that guy and about grabbing a woman by, you had all that stuff going on coming up on the election. So you had all these things. You have Steve Bannon and all the things that he was doing. You had Trump going out there saying, drain the swamp, lock her up, and all these other things that were going on, right? So the Guardian article was pointing out that all that you're seeing now was foretold, or could be foretold, I don't know how they use the word, by the Gamergate and its situation. And when the Gamergate situation came out, they really downplayed like it was not such a big deal. But what it turns out, and then the other article that we just read was, and it's in the media broadcast, and it was also a Vox article. It went on, and it was written after the insurrection. I don't remember seeing the date on it. Just by the article itself, it was after the insurrection, and showing how that mindset and those people out of Gamergate are directly connected to how Bannon then got Bannon gets involved in Trump's election, and they take those tactics to the campaign, and that far right that has become a good part of his base comes from that I want to say event, but more than that, you know what I mean? So the far right, that alt far right, is this it's not just the Protestants and the evangelicals. It's about these alt-right, far-right. What is alternate right? Is that what that means? Alt-right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, the far right that eventually stemmed into January 6th. And it's this fight, these men's rights activists, these men's rights movements, these forums where Elder Tess went into, actually it was Rachel that went into the Reddit, and they showed how Reddit works and how those communities break down. You have different communities within Reddit. So you get these men that generally, and I've said this, and I want to make sure I say generally because I know it's not all men, but generally men don't like to go get help. And there are those that will go get help, but it's not a manly macho thing to do to go get, especially with the type that we're coming to understand. So anyways, they don't need help or however they want to say it. But these forums, these online and forums where you could go in and be anonymous, it kind of, and I did run this past Elder Tess and she agreed with it, because I was thinking about support groups that, women might have support groups, so you're abused or all these different reasons you could be in a support group. And a support group is to be among others that have experienced what you're experiencing and to gain tools and some validation and then tools and to where you can then go on and be strong. So these forums where you can now go in and be anonymous because you're a man and you don't need to go get help. It's the women that got problems, right? And so they go into these forums anonymously and they start airing their grievances about women and women's rights and et cetera, right? So you grow a following and you grow a little community. And from that growth, and she went through that with the Reddit about how many, the percentage of men on Reddit. And so out of that growth comes develops into this far right hate that then winds up being these various organizations and organized groups that then eventually went on January 6th and did what they did. So it's not just the Protestant evangelicals. That's what she was showing on the Vespers class. It's not just the Protestant evangelicals. It's this other group that I don't remember if she said it this way. Maybe somebody could remind me. Far more dangerous. I think she actually said that, but I might be wrong. More dangerous and filled with hate. So when you picture that with everything what we're understanding about equality and the Sunday law, and you see this hatred against women and these men's rights movements that have organized to the point that they are fighting, they're involved in all the fights when it comes to like abortion, women's rights, and all these different areas. They're involved with this because of their dominance and power that they don't want to lose. So that's the fast side of all of that. Anybody else have any other details to add? So so any questions, David?
No, I guess not. Not right now.
So if you can look at January 6th, trace the development from 2014 and Gamergate to then spilling over into the Trump administration, okay, and his base, to then January 6th, the people that are all stop the steal and all that other, and we're going to go back and we're going to fight for our country and all of that, that whole mindset is unleashed. So when you trace that development from 2014, actually you can trace it back to 1989, but you trace that development with Gamergate and bring it forward, it's giving a clearer picture, at least in my mind, to what the Sunday law is. Sunday law is a symbol, I guess the best way to say it is a symbol, but it's these all these oppressive laws, and she says that the Sunday law, it's not one, we're not just waiting for one law that's going to happen. It's all these successive laws that are happening all around, and it's going to bring this clash between freedom and equality, and freedom's going to trump equality. As I understand it, freedom will trump equality and God's people are going to be there defending equality. Onto whatever. Go ahead, Christine.
One of the things that they learned during Gamergate, which it just started off as a simple incident, but it snowballed, was that there are no consequences. You know, because you can attack somebody anonymously. And did you define what doxing was?
Doxing, when they post public information about you publicly to smear you and all that.
So that started there. The people that the women that they were attacking on this this website, they and other places, they were using the hashtag Gamergate, and that's how it got the name Gamergate, is because it was that one actor, Adam Baldwin, who started using hashtag Gamergate, and that's where the name Gamergate started. It wasn't like a site called, you know, it might have been called, I don't know where the site started, but anyway, but there was no consequences for those people who were attacking the women and for giving out their personal information and stalking them and stuff. There was no consequences, and that was part of what happened. And then also they were organizing through the web, you know, through these different social websites. They were organizing and attacking certain people, right? And that's how January 6th is connected, because they learned that social media is a great tool for organizing and connecting people to be able to go out and do these things anonymously, connect people of like minds and attack people and without consequences.
I remember the other point being made, because I think we talked about this too. It was in that article, I think, because like your older Republican, your evangelicals, your right, Republican right, they don't know any of this stuff. When we've watched some of, I think some of us have probably watched some of, maybe all of us have watched some of the, like when they had the Facebook hearings and the Twitter and all that kind of stuff, that when they go to Congress, and I was like, these guys, they don't even know what all this stuff is. So it was already in place and having its effect on society before people even really realized didn't even know what it was. So how do you fight something you don't even know what it was? You know, you got to call your kids in, help them explain. Can you explain this to me? You know, and so that's where we're building to, and they've not gone away. Trump's not gone away. They're not going anywhere. So yeah, that's I know I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was. But so anyways, that's what she was showing when it comes to the right, the far right, not being just your evangelicals. I don't know if there's more to that. It seemed like she's going to add to that, but definitely this group is a dangerous group, and they're very well organized. And it's not just like Christine just said, it's not just the United States. This is going on, and that's what Elder Tess said. I think it's in there in those posts, that it's not just in the United States. This is happening around the world. It's mobilized, if that's the right word. I don't know. It's happening around the world. So it really made me think about it, because we're watching the fall of the King of the South, right? So in 1989, you've got the wall come down, and you're watching the fall of the Soviet Union, the collapse in 1991. So in 1991, what was the status of the United States, if I can ask it that way? Say that, you mouthed it.
Superpower.
Superpower.
The one and only.
The one and only superpower. So you have this one world government that people are expecting, right? People are expecting, and many are on the wrong side that are expecting this one world government by the view of conspiracy theories. It's globalization, and the Democrats and the liberals are all the evil, controlled by Satan and all that. And so when you have the fall of the King of the South, so if that's what you had in 1991, what do you have here with the Sunday law? What do you have when at the death of the King of the South? Same thing you had in 1991. What'd you say?
Superpower.
A superpower, a one world order. Right?
Yeah.
Because the King of the South is gone. So you've got now the United States being the world superpower. And we know that goes into the 10 kings. And we see their characteristics, right? And I was reading, I don't know much about France, but I was reading, maybe some of you saw it too, but France, the election that's coming up, and I don't know when it is, but for Macron, but there's a woman.
Yeah.
I don't know, remember her name, huh?
I think it's 2022.
2022,
Sure.
I think so too.
Pretty sure.
And she's of this far right.
Yeah.
I want to say she was connected to Trump. That's what I read. I've been reading a lot.
Somehow she was a follower, or
yeah, I think
she was a friend. Yeah.
And so you have these other nations that are already positioned to be this way. This hatred against gender issues, if that made sense.
Yeah, I was confused about that because I think they had one election, like they have runoff elections, I was reading or something. So
I saw that too.
Macron and this lady, I forgot her name, but I think they're in the running now, and she's been gaining a lot of strength, and she's going to give him a run for her money. And so I was wondering, okay, so if we're moving that direction, I was thinking, oh, this is good that a female is going to, maybe be their president. And then I see in there that she's the far right. And I'm like, well, how's that work? I mean, is she going to be fighting like what, against women somehow? So I was confused, like, well,
yeah, because there are women that believe in the patriarchal structure, which is really, to me too, it's really
okay.
a conflict in my head, because when you look at Amy Coney Barrett,
right,
she's on the Supreme Court, and she goes home and plays obedient wife.
Right.
And knows her place.
So that's right. That's what I was thinking as an example, like, okay, she's right up there. So this lady over here in France can be in that same genre, or whatever you want to say, mindset. Yeah. I'm not going to be surprised if she actually wins the presidency over there, the way the article is going.
Yeah.
Was that on the media program? Where did I hear that?
I don't know. I don't think it was. I remember reading it somewhere, but I don't think it was in there. Maybe it was, but I don't think
it could have been.
It might have been in Bible study or Sacramento Fellowship. One of those two, I think.
That's possible.
I read it.
I think they had a thing on that CNN 5. I don't know if anybody gets that. CNN puts out 5 top stories every morning, and one of them was talking about that. And I think maybe that's where it was a spinoff of one of those, an article with them.
So any other comments on all that before we look at try to do a review on the 2520? Okay. You guys gotta move. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this. I put it there so I'd remember for next week, but we're gonna do it from scratch. And try to get some details in there to then eventually get to where we get to the once we lay out the two 2520s and that chiastic structure, then get to the 151 and the 126. So so you'll have to help me. You can see the whole board, right? Is it close enough, or does it need to be closer? Is that good?
I
Can
can
you
make
see
it out. Um, There, you can see the top and the bottom. You might have to pin it so that way whoever is talking doesn't show up like me.
Yeah. Okay. We can see typing. Okay. So it's been a while, so let's test our memories, and we're looking at the chiastic structure, the two 2520s. And who has our first date? Besides me, because I have a cheat note, cheat sheet.
742
There you go. Yep.
BC.
Yep. 742.
So what's the title of the line?
The title of the line. We're going to be doing the chiastic structure of the 2520s.
Okay, thank you.
So however you want to do that. Okay. What's our end point? Or should we do it that way? Should we just go this way?
No, that's a good way to do it. I mean, I like it because I know 1863.
Okay. Okay. 1863. And I hope I don't get myself to where we do this and don't run out of room. If I do, I'll have to swap it over. Okay. So where's our next waymark?
19 years.
Oh, that was the
In-
next question.
in-
That was okay. And where is
And then
it?
on the other side, I think there's 19 years on the chiasm, the other side, yeah.
Okay. So anybody remember the date or do the math?
23.
Okay.
Is it 23?
Yep. So here we've got the prophecy of Isaiah 7, right? Yeah, the 65 years prophecy, the civil war that's going on, predicting the fall of the northern tribes. So where's our next waymark? What was this one?
1842, I guess. Or no, 44. 44? Yeah, 1844.
Okay, 1844. Okay, so where's our next waymark here? So this is the fall of the northern
Southern.
tribes. This is the fall of the northern tribes,
mean-
right?
Northern tribe, right.
Okay. And what?
So you got to go back 46 years, I think, from there.
Correct.
So that's your 677.
Okay. And what's 677?
That's the fall of the southern two tribes, right? They go into, oh, Manasseh. Is that what it is?
677.
Yeah, Manasseh is taken as an earnest. Is that where we are?
Yeah, if I remember right. Somebody else remember? I'm pretty sure that's right. Hey,
Pretty sure it's Manasseh.
677 is Manasseh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually the little chart that I pulled up didn't have you got Manasseh here. Does anybody remember what happens before the fall? This is a bonus point. If you remember what happens before Babylon conquers Jerusalem. Between Manasseh and the fall. I'm not asking the question well, but if you remember the line, you might remember what this pertains to.
Give us a hint.
Yeah. Well, the hint is Manasseh is the earnest.
Oh, okay. So, there's the other kings that fall.
Right.
Jehoiachin, Kim, and Zedekiah. But it's a progressive fall, but Daniel gets taken captive somewhere in the end there.
Yeah, with Jehoiachin, I think. He's the first carried away. Okay, so what was this called? What was this called?
The progressive destruction?
Yeah, that. What else do we call that?
Kathy?
John gives it to us in the Revelation.
He does.
You had Manasseh. Why am I?
Ammon.
Yeah, Ammon.
Ammon.
I was thinking Hezekiah. So Hezekiah's back here. You have Hezekiah back here. So you have Manasseh. You have Ammon. You have Josiah. Is that right?
I forget exactly how they come in the order.
Jehoiakim. No. Jehoiakim is back here. Yeah, I'm missing one, but Jehoiakim, Chin.
HKC said it's Kim and
Jehoiah.
Chin, but I don't remember what the H stands for. Hezekiah?
Hezekiah is before his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another H.
What'd she say?
Look in the back of your Bible. I was trying to do it without looking in my Bible.
Yeah. I'm missing one, but the main thing is that we have the 4, we have 1, and then we have 2, 3, and 4. So in this, you've got the number 4, symboling the last generation. What are the 7? Because there's 7 from 677 to Zedekiah.
Oh, the 7 thunders.
There you go.
You gave it to me when you said it was in Revelation.
Okay. Okay, so now 723 begins the 2520 when it comes to the northern tribes. Where does it end?
Where does 723 end?
The 2520.
That's, I think, 538.
No.
Well, that's the middle of the. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 728 isn't 1798.
1798. Okay, so let's see if we can do this. I'm going to do it down here so that we can see it.
I think it's 1798. That's the nice.
No, 1798 is the end of the first 2520, if you want to say it that way.
Okay, so then what is this? This is the 2520.
So that's the 21260s. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the middle. I was thinking I was confusing myself with 538.
Yeah,
Right?
because that would be here. Is that right?
Yeah.
I might be messed up too.
Yeah. Somebody tell me, is it right?
So you have pagan and papal, right? Yeah. You
Right.
have pagan. And you have papal. Rome, Babylon. Okay, so 677. Where does 677 then end?
That's Christine, you know.
We all know that.
It's 46 years on both ends. So
You got
you have to, that's the way I remember it. So it's because the temple's raised up in 46 years and Millerites are raised up in 46 years. So you come to 1840, what?
677, where does the 677 end? Where'd you say, David?
The first chart, I was just trying to give a hint to Christine, is the first chart comes in the 46 years, or the 2520 comes in, ends in 1843. The first chart, the 1843 chart says that, but we realized it was in 1844 that the second 2520, if you want to say it that way, has its completion. But I like the fact that it's really 12520, the chiasm. So I don't really know how to say the second 2520.
If I remember correctly, somebody help me. Oh, how do maybe I don't remember it right. But you have the host and the sanctuary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go there because I don't remember to say it right. Okay, so we got the main things that we wanted to do. We saw the chiastic structure. We know that William Miller understood the 677 to 1844, right? 1843 is what he had figured. And Hiram Edson in here, right? I think it was like 1853, if anybody remembers, 1856. The
Hiram did his studies or started to do his studies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember what year it was, but it was, I don't remember.
I want to say it was 1856 or something like that. So he sees this. Somebody help me out here. He sees this 2520 and William Miller sees this one.
Right.
Okay. So, but they never agreed on them. But
no,
for us, we come and God shines the light on the 2520, eventually giving you to the two, bring them together to where you then have this chiastic structure with the prophecy, that the 65-year prophecy that's given in 742 BC about the fall of the northern tribes. And then you have the fall of the southern tribes here. The progressive destruction, the seven thunders. You've got the four representing the fourth generation. And the three is in there as well, but I can't remember. Oh, because of the three messages, right?
Yeah, but I don't remember how it is on the first half. The second half is the three angels' messages.
Yeah.
But where it?
It's been a while. It's in one of the notes that I did of Elder Parmenter. So he breaks down to show the 3 and the 4 in all these different spots. So the 3 and the 4. So you have the 3 and the 4, which equals the 7. Within the 4 is the last generation. The 3 is this progressive destruction. The 7 is a progressive destruction, but I think it had to do with Tim, Chin, and Zedekiah, the 3. And so the 7 altogether was the 7 thunders, right? And I don't have all the details put in here when it comes to Cyrus and all that, but that was kind of a starter where I wanted to get to. Okay, so now we have the chiastic structure. How do we you guys can see if I write up here, right? Okay. Let me think of what I wanted to do. You've got 1798. You've got I don't want to do this line wrong. Ellen White gives us the second advent, right? She gives us the close of creation.
Yeah,
she gives us the Sunday law.
right.
And then this waymark on this line, it's 1840, right?
I couldn't tell you for sure.
What'd you say?
I couldn't tell you for sure.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I know it depends on what you're looking at, what you're doing, so I don't want to confuse that, but put 1840 or 1844, because I can't remember which one it is. So I can't remember which one it is, but that's not the point that I wanted to make anyway. So she gives us this structure, right? So at 1798, we know is the time of the end.
Right.
So how do we take us from there to, how did we get 1989? Because she didn't give it to us.
Well, yeah, she didn't give it to us. So we go to Daniel 11:40, and we look at the king of the north and the king of the south there, and there's the ships and oh, I don't have it in front of me, but somehow we come out with that in Daniel 11:40 as the time of the end there. And I don't really know exactly how to explain that, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Anybody? Where's all our quiet ones out there?
Yeah, come on, somebody help us.
So we know that Daniel 11:40 tells us at the time of the end, this and this and this will happen. And at the time of the end, this will happen. So if I recall the right way to say it, if it is the right way to say it, we saw it as a repeat and enlarge.
Okay.
If I remember right. But Ellen White didn't give us that date. So, and there was no time setting. So if you took yourself back to, we weren't there. I don't think any of us were there. But what historically happened that we looked at for years as being able to peg 1989 without using time setting.
So that's what I was thinking is in 1798, in 1989, the king of the south goes down.
Okay. So we knew we began a reform line.
Yeah, because it was, we began a reform line, you mean starting with a period of darkness and then an increase of knowledge?
Right.
So
I think I answered my question on that one. Okay, so the king of the south falls. We take that from Daniel 11:40 part B, and that's 1989. There's more detail into that because we know that this is deadly wound, and then that's a whole nother story to the deadly wound and then the death. That you take from the king of the north in this history, where you have the king of the north receives a deadly wound and then a death. So the king of the south, therefore, receives a deadly wound and then a death. The king of the north, we know, resurrects. So the king of the south resurrects. Okay. Did everybody follow that? Without writing it all, everybody follow that?
Say it
Question?
again. Can
Question?
you say it quickly again?
Say, okay. I'm trying to think of how it looks on the board so that we can do it, okay. You have 1798 and you have 1989. This is the King of the North, deadly wound, right? And then death.
Yeah.
So this is the King of the South, a deadly wound, and then death. We know that the King of the North resurrects. So therefore, we know that the King of the South resurrects.
Okay.
Okay. So then
Yeah.
that's what tells us that this history repeats down here. This and Sunday law. So you've got the King of the South, deadly wound, and then this death that's final. And you have one superpower. Right? Did everybody follow that? Is everybody sleeping? Can you guys all wave, say hi?
I just have such a hard time with these kind of things.
Now,
Hard.
I'm going to
I'm
call
wrapping
on
my
you
mind
personally
around it.
then.
What's up?
I'm going to call on you personally then.
yeah, Tess does that.
But I'm not going to be able to answer it.
That's okay.
Well, that's okay.
That's okay.
So, Elaine, let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
So is the first angel's message arrives in 1798? Is that part of the proof that 1989, or adds to the weight of things? 1989, the first angel's message arrives. You see what I'm saying? It arrives at the time of the end is when they both arrive on both 1798 and 1989.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So Ellen White gives us these 5 waymarks, right? And we're repeating this history. And she didn't give us 1989. And back in 1989, as I don't know where we know it began, but I don't know where they actually drew up 1989, but we know that what was seen was the breakup of the Soviet Union, right? So that develops. So this is line upon line that develops 91, right? And then you have 90. Christine, I'll call on you. Yes, you do too know this one. Go ahead, Phil. I see you ready to go.
96.
Yep. Okay, so 96, what happened in 96 then? So this was the increase of knowledge. I think I'm getting too tight. I don't know if you're able to see.
No.
So what was 96?
The magazine.
What?
The magazine of shoot, what was it called?
Time of the End?
Yeah, Time of the End magazine. Yeah, shoot.
And what did Time of the End magazine tell us? This is
About the King of the North, the King of the South, isn't it?
Huh?
About the King of the North and the King of the South.
Yeah, can you be more general?
It talked about the King of South dying, and so we thought the King of the South was dead, didn't we?
Real general. It's so here you've got line upon line. The increase of knowledge. The first angel arrives, then you've got the increase of knowledge. You've got this line upon line. The Time of the End magazine was on what subject in the Bible? King of the North, King of the South, but what book?
Well, are you saying like time, because now it's the time of the end?
So Revelation.
In the name of
Daniel 11:40.
There you go.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, I knew you guys would
Right.
go over that one. Okay,
Okay.
okay, so now our next waymark though, we put our little waymarks, which we don't know those little waymarks exist until way down here. So our next waymark, who can help us? You guys are in baptism classes, a lot of you are. What's our next waymark then? Because Ellen White doesn't give it to us from the way we've understood it, that that she gives us these three and these two are manufactured.
So she gives us she gives us the time, I mean, the time of the end and 9/11 are the ones that we have to fill in.
That we have to fill in.
Yeah.
Who wants to walk through 9/11? How did you guys that are in baptismal classes, maybe you've been reviewing it. How do you get to 9/11 as that second waymark? Christine's got multiple computers. She can cheat.
I could cheat, but I'm trying not to. I'm really trying not to.
9/11, was that manufactured from the Millerites line, 1840?
Yes, but how did we know it was 9/11?
Islam? Islam or woes?
Well, we thought it was related to.
Well, it was the restraint of Islam.
Yeah.
I thought it was related to the spirit of prophecy, Ellen White's comments on that vision she had. It turned out it really wasn't, but we've discovered that it was the harbinger for the time of the
Correct.
The real time of the end.
Correct. So if we go back to 1840, we got line upon line here, right? That's our methodology that's been established, and the formalization of that leads you to Daniel 11:40.
So was that the answer?
It's heading in the right direction, and Phil's got it too.
Okay,
there's probably more to it, but we want to try to put it together the best we can. So if you're going line upon line, and what happened in 1840?
That was
Islam was restrained.
Islam was restrained.
So is that where the Ottoman Empire was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what else happens here? What is that then?
Well,
it was the confirmation of 1 day to 1 year.
At the empowerment of the first messenger?
Yes. First empowered. And then the arrival of the second. And what'd you say, Christine? Because yes, what'd you say?
The confirmation that of the one day equals 1 year.
Correct. So the
prophecy.
So the methodology is confirmed.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So when you come down to 9/11, and it wasn't that they were restrained there. She went through the breakdown of that. It was after that. So I may get this part wrong, and you feel free to correct me. But it did point to Islam, but this was not a restraint of Islam. The restraint came after. If anybody remembers those details. Okay, so we've got Islam, and then again you have the first angel empowered. So now you know the methodology, right? So those of you that are in classes, you help me with this because this is what I'm trying to methodology. I probably got it pulled on. Okay, so you guys that are in classes, help me to remember because this is what I'm trying to get in my head as well. Because Aaron makes a statement that at 9/11, you have no legal right to leave the movement. Anybody hear him say that in your classes? explain that. You can go ahead, Phil. I saw you turn your mic on.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard him say that after 9/11, you have no legal right to leave the movement. But I can't remember why.
Christine?
I don't know exactly, but because we know the truth, because we know that God's leading, based on his what he's teaching us.
And here's, because I've heard him say it, and it's related to 9/11, and I know that because he says it, it's at 9/11. And you guys help me that are in classes in the event that I'm wrong. Because here you have line upon line leads you to this increase of knowledge in Daniel 11:40 to 45. So you start to understand this battle between the king of the north and the king of the south, and you know, at the time you believe the king of the south is gone and never coming back, right? But you have a confirmation of a prophecy, which I think Christine said, that the methodology, the confirmation of the methodology, right? This date here is, and this one here are manufactured through the structures. The structures and the methodology give us these events, give us these dates. So I think that's why he says, if you accept 9/11, and one of you guys in classes maybe ask him so that we all have it, you know, just if you want to ask him, so that we have it clear. So since this waymark is a product of the methodology and the structure, you accept 9/11, you accept the package.
Thanks.
Is that right?
That's the way I've heard it.
You what?
That's the way I've heard it. You know,
Okay.
I've heard it actually the opposite. If you reject 9/11, you reject the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and those that are rejecting the message up here are, they wind up rejecting everything all the way back.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to. Okay, so that gives us that. Now what I wanted to get to then is time setting, because that's our next, I wonder if we should just erase all this and redraw that. What time do we got?
Did you take a picture of it?
Okay. Just so that we can work on the time setting part then, just because you guys are, it's getting pretty crowded up there and I don't even think you can see it, can you?
I can't.
It's pretty blurry.
I don't know if I quite have that bottom part in there. Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, because we want to try to do this bigger and get our line 1989 separated out from this mess. And we kind of still need we still need some of that 2520 on there, I think. Let me think. Practicing this so I can do it next time. Actually, I think we only need, we're going to do this kind of long. We're going to put second Advent, close of probation, Sunday law, and then we want 9/11, 1989, and we can just make this kind of small, 1798, 1840. I think of this one, then you do, somebody help me out, 44, 1850, and 1863. Is that right?
Yes.
And then we got this little thing in here that's 1888. Right?
Yes.
Okay. I hope I did that semi-justice. My only point is to get to how did the 2520 equal time?
So the 2520, let's just say a breakdown or where it came from actually is the 126. And you searching for that from 1863 to
How did you get the
1989? Now that is the original like numerical value of meeny, tekel, upharsin before you put in it times the 20 gera, right? If I'm remembering that right. Uh, 50, 50, 25, and 1. Oh, tekel is the 1, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking that through. Is there anybody on here that needs that spelled out better? If you do, go ahead and ask and we'll run through it real quick. It's hard being tall on these boards. Okay.
And it's hard to be short too.
It's easier to reach than to have to go down, but maybe. Somebody refresh my memory. The 50, the many equaling of 50 is in numbers, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's numbers.
No.
We'll do the second one in a minute. But a many being 50 shekels, correct?
Yeah.
And then a many being 50 shekels. A tekel was just 1 shekel.
Right.
Parson is divided. Your kingdom is numbered, it's divided. So it's divided, so it's half of a many. Upharsin is half of a many. So when you add it up, you get 126, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this comes from, where do we
Daniel something 25. Where is it?
Is it 25?
It's 523
525.
or 525. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the whole many tekel upharsin.
Okay. So that gave us the 126. Okay. So let's break down the other one. Who remembers the other one? Comes from Ezekiel.
I also got Leviticus 27:25 for the 126, or for the 151.
You have Leviticus?
No, I've got the Leviticus.
I think
it's where the shekel was equal to 20 gerahs.
I think it's Ezekiel 46, but
I also got it. I got Ezekiel 45:12 for that also, but it's also Leviticus 27.
That's the one I remember, but you have a Leviticus too? Okay, so break this down then. So this is another measure. This was the Persians, wasn't it? I don't remember, but it was 2 different ways that the shekel the many was measured. 2 different ways that and depending on the kingdom, if I remember right, it's based on the kingdom that I don't remember which kingdom did it one way and another kingdom did it another way. So in the Ezekiel reference, and I think you're saying Leviticus as well. I didn't remember that one. How much is a many? How many
shekels? 60 shekels.
60 shekels. 60. So
you have 60, 61, and 30.
Which gives you?
151.
151. Okay. So you have the 126 and the 151. And that's how you get from Daniel 5, many take you parson, to breaking this down with the 25-20. What is to be honest, I don't even know how you link that off the top of my head, other than being a 10th. I don't know how you link that, to be honest, but I'm not remembering. So you have the 126 is what? Isaiah 7. Isaiah 6, 7. Isaiah 6. Isaiah 6, right?
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Can I ask a question really quick
Sure.
before we go too far?
Yeah.
What, Christine, what did you say that was in Leviticus? I want to mark that down.
I have down Leviticus 27:25, and I'm gonna go double check it.
Okay, I'm just trying to mark that down.
Okay, so what does Isaiah 6 tell us? 6:13.
Isaiah 6:13. I'll look it up.
This is really a skim overview.
Oh, the 10th,
The 10th.
the remnant. Was that it?
10th.
Yeah.
Isaiah 6:13 equals the remnant. Right? So when we
Yeah.
had our when we had our 1260, right? We had a 10th. Right?
Yeah.
So the 25-20 in and these aren't going to be scale. We've got 89, 9/11, 2014, 2019, and 2021. So we did these two little waymarks, right? Now what we're looking at is here is the 25-20, and this was what? The formalization was what?
Where I can't see, you're between what and what?
So you're between 9/11 and 2014. 2009, you've got
Oh.
the 25-20.
Yeah.
And
And then
20,
you got
what's the next?
2020, 2012,
12
2014.
to 2014. And so this was the formalization, right? This is the increase of knowledge. So you have the formalization then is what? So you've got 1989, the time of the end, line upon line, right? You got an increase of knowledge. You have a formalization, which was Daniel 11, 40 to 45. I think I put 40 before, but 40 to 45. And then you get to 9/11. So in here, you've now got to 9/11. The methodology is confirmed, just like on our other line in 1840, the methodology was confirmed. And so you've got the methodology. Now you have, if you accept this, you have no legal right to leave the movement. You move forward and you've got the 25-20 opens up. And what are we discussing here? 25-20 equals what?
Time.
What'd she say?
I don't know if she was cracking, her voice was cracking.
So it takes us to time. So the,
You want, she's asking the question, she's been distracted. Why you don't have the right to leave the movement? at 9/11?
Somebody in their baptism classes is gonna ask that question. They have to have-
I haven't gotten that far.
The only, I'm going by based on, and reviewing, the stuff on 9/11, and in particular, some of Aaron's classes as well on 9/11, some of his presentations on 9/11. And, but what I do understand here is you've got the methodology confirmed, August 11th, 1840, you have the methodology confirmed. And at 9/11, you have the
Right.
methodology confirmed. So if you accept the methodology, you go forward using the methodology.
Did you get that, honey?
Yeah, but I don't know why you don't have a legal right to leave.
Because you bought into the message. So if you buy into it, you're either going to stay in or you're
Or you're gonna leave.
a goner.
Yeah, you don't understand my question, but that's okay.
So people can leave, but they've accepted the methodology.
Yeah, it's like, what is the legal? What's legal ramifications?
I don't know, I'm just asking for those that have been in those classes to help out on that phrasing of it. So, but what I do understand though, with or without that phrasing, is that if you come in here like we did, we came in here, some of you were back here, you come in here and you accept 9/11, then 9/11, what we just went through, on the other line, that 9/11 is a manufactured, this one and this one, they're manufactured dates from the structures. And I know I said something else, that they're manufactured but based on the structure, because Ellen White doesn't give us these dates, and the only way to get these dates is line upon line methodology. So if you accept the line upon line methodology, then you proceed forward. And if you leave, then you're rejecting methodology. And the methodology leads this path. So,
Right, I get that. I get that whole thing. It's just the wording of
yeah,
legally can't leave. I didn't know that we had a police force going and.
I don't think that we're looking at it that way, but I don't think we're looking at it that way. I was just trying to explain it another way, that if you accept the methodology, then the methodology is what this reform line is made of, is the methodology, and that's the light that eventually becomes the midnight cry that lights the way. So if you reject the midnight cry, you're actually rejecting the methodology that was confirmed, that you already accepted. So if that's a better way to understand it. So if you accept the methodology, but you reject the midnight cry, then you didn't accept the methodology.
Right.
So,
Okay. Got it.
I get that whole everything. It's just the wording of the legalities of it. That's.
yeah, I think it's just used as a symbol. You can ask Aaron on that. Might just be used as a symbol.
Yeah.
I didn't explain how he uses that term, but basically you accept the methodology, then you're in the movement. And if you reject the midnight cry, then you're going to reject everything, because the methodology leads to the midnight cry and leads us all the way. Okay, so we got our 126 now, which is a 10th of the 1260, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now somebody get out your calculators, unless your math whizzes in your head. I always have to, because it's used a few different ways. And we didn't get to 1989 this way, but this way confirms 1989.
Right.
If I'm saying that right. Okay, so who's got our connections?
connections for what?
What's the question?
To, how do we get to 1989 with the 126?
From 163 or 1863, you mean? And that was the church went into apostasy and darkness, and then we come out of the darkness, the period of darkness at preceding 1989. I'm not sure how to say it, but it was like, it's a mini 2520 where you're put under the curse until you come out of the curse.
Yeah, there's darkness in here. I don't know, we write that in there. There's darkness in here. Okay. So 1863, they go into darkness. In 1989, 126 years later, you got the arrival then again of the first angel. Right?
Yeah.
And then you have your plowing, former rain, latter rain, harvest. Okay, so take us to 2014.
Well, that's the 151, but I'm not sure. Okay, you end up at the priest Sunday law. But I don't really know how to explain that. I just know that the math comes out that way.
We're gonna put that down here, 2014. (1888) to 2014.
Is that your
And then the other way,
126? Is that?
So you can get to 2014 two ways. One by subtracting 151 from so 1888, and then one from subtracting 126 from 1863, or the other way around. Yeah, like you read it, like you did it.
Yeah, 1863 to 2014 is the 151.
Yeah,
1888 to 2014 is the 126.
that's amazing, right?
So you had two witnesses in
Yeah.
2014, which is
Yeah.
the turning point, right? External turning point, it's the turning point. And in the priest line, it's the middle way mark. And it's the Sunday law, right? Anything else that we're missing? And just to finish off our memory banks again here, 2014 to 2019, what's our increase of knowledge?
2016. (2018) is your formalization.
And what happens here? What happens at 2016?
It's election.
Yeah, the election. What about internally?
I forgot what happened in
Oh,
2016.
we know.
Yeah, it's a good question. What?
Remember when we had our other lineup here and
Oh,
The
is
other
that the
big
path
one.
of the just? Was that the,
That was-
I forget what it's called, 7 something.
well, we know that there was a test here. So this test, yes, there was a falling away. Lost my train of thought. So at 1989, go back to this. Go back to this right here. 1989, you had the King of the South receives a deadly wound. We did a compare and contrast of the King of the North and the King of the South. So we saw that 1798, the King of the North receives a deadly wound, and then there's a death. And then it resurrects, we know. So compare and contrast, you have 1989, the king of the south, Daniel 11:40 part B, receives a deadly wound and then a death. So if the king of the north resurrects, the king of the south resurrects. So what was 2016? Remember that back here, you had line upon line, Daniel 11:40 to 45 open up. But what's our attitude on, what's our understanding of the king of the south here?
We thought he had died.
We thought he had died. We didn't know that this happened. We
Right.
thought he was dead. So what's 2016?
That
Where he
he's,
resurrects. Yeah.
No, he resurrects earlier. I think we've talked about that, and I can't remember, but I think she marks it at 2001 or 1999. I don't remember where she marks it. But Putin's already here. I think it's in here somewhere after, in a situation when it comes to 9/11, after 9/11. So 2016, some of us were here. I know Christine wasn't. Robert was. David and Kathy were. And I don't know if there's anybody else who, that's all I see. There might be others, I just don't see them.
so you're looking for the internal event for 2016?
What opened up internally in 2016?
There was a
Michelle
verse.
and Logina weren't here either.
There was a verse and it starts with an E, I think, but I can't think of what it was. Something
Oh, I know,
7.
Ezra.
Or Joel.
It's Ezra 7.
Oh, Ezra.
Ezra 7.
Yeah, that was 2014.
Sorry.
Oh,
Huh?
20.
oh, so Ezra 7:9 was 2014.
I might be off. I think it's 2014, but I know it was in that time when I first came in. And 20 it is Ezra 7:9 gave us the 3 groups. So that's different than what I'm looking for here. What's our increase of knowledge in 2016? So Ezra 7:9, I'm pretty sure is back here, and you start to get the 3 groups.
Yeah.
Equality?
Huh?
Does it have to do with equality, sexism, feminism? I know it's all there somewhere.
It is. But how did we get there? You weren't there, but you weren't there at the time, but we know it's been traced back. What?
Daniel 11.
No. Go back down to here. What do you have here?
Hang on a sec. Dies.
You have the king of the south, right?
Yeah.
What did we come to understand in 2016?
That he was alive.
That
He's
he was
alive.
So I think what you guys said earlier, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I think what you said earlier is he resurrects. And he doesn't resurrect here.
Is that the king of the north and the king of the south? It's polar opposites?
Yep. Now, this didn't happen until later. What did open up, though, was the king of the north and the king of the south. So that did open up. And that was in Holland, I believe, but it was a wrong understanding. Okay. But it was what we first came to understand is that the king of the south wasn't dead, he was coming back. But at that time, we're thinking hot war and all the wrong stuff. And God sends the midnight cry message that then gives us this, the polar opposites that then eventually leads to led to equality. Can you walk us through that, Phil?
Was that a particular verse?
This came, I believe, in Acts 27. Through the study of Acts 27, then taking us to Daniel 11, 3 and 4 in there, where you get to Pyrrhus. You get the information of Pyrrhus between Alexander the Great and the successor wars. You get the Diadochi Wars.
I thought you meant in 2016.
Say that again.
In 2016, you talked that we learned about the king of, we learned more about the king of the north and the king of the south, but Elder Tuss wasn't here talking about Acts 27 in 2016.
She's studying this here. We don't get it till here.
Oh,
What we got, and I think that's right. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but she's studying it here, but we don't know it. We don't know it until the midnight cry. But this is where Acts 27 was opening up. For us, those of us that were here, all we understood at the time is that the king of the south was not dead. We didn't know anything about this. We didn't know about the resurrection, the compare and contrast and the resurrection. We just knew that the king of the south wasn't dead. The midnight cry showed us all of this, but she's actually studying it, and this information is, she's understanding this information in this period.
okay.
And I'm open for correction, but that's where Acts 27 began to open up. But we get it at the midnight cry, which puts us on the right path. And that path was what? Phil said it.
Equality, gender.
Equality. And then you get your test. Okay. Anything else? And we know that this is 21, and we have 19. This is on the big line here, this is the increase of knowledge and the formalization of the Sunday law. Right? What goes here? 2019 as the increase of knowledge on the big line.
What's your question? What's the increase of knowledge?
2019, the increase of knowledge. And this is the big line now, 144,000.
So that's feminism.
Feminism. And then what's 2021?
Radical feminism.
Radical. Okay. And all pointing to here. So when was it the camp meeting in Canada? Must have been in 2019 sometime, I think. Maybe somebody remembers where we were first starting to catch the understanding that the Sunday law wasn't a Sunday law, right?
Yeah, it was just before the big international camp meeting.
Okay, so we're understanding the Sunday law is not a Sunday law. We're wearing pants.
Yeah.
Women are wearing pants now. So we're understanding feminism. 2021 brings us to radical feminism. And these are the key issues then for what we call the Sunday law.
Yeah.
Which then takes you back to this 2014. Can you see up there?
Yeah.
And Gamergate. And many other things. But in light of what we're looking at with just what we discussed earlier, Gamergate, but you have all the other things that happen here. You have Mitch McConnell blocking the
Right.
Obama
Judges.
appointments. You have
Purging of the Republican Party.
Yeah, thank you. It was in my head the second before. Purging of the Republican Party. Then you also had, what was the third one?
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
Which was what?
It was
Religious
church and
rights.
state. Right. Yeah, religious
Well, it was
rights.
church and state. Those
What's
were
the city?
Christian school. They were Catholic and they didn't want to offer first.
She's saying
It's
it's
a church and, I see it as a church and state thing.
religious freedom.
Yeah, religious freedom.
Oh,
So the religious freedom that they want, now that leads us all the way to where we're in this area here, where we're learning the difference between freedom and equality. And their idea of religious freedom is, I get to practice my religion, even if it causes harm to you. Because we don't
Right.
define harm the same way you do. So if my religious freedom tramples on your rights, it's my religious freedom to do that.
Right. Freedom is not a good thing.
I think we did pretty good.
With your help.
Right.
So, all of your help. Well, some of you guys were very quiet. But anybody have any comments or questions? Let's open up the mics. Let's open up the cameras.
Yeah, get those cameras going.
Let's not look
Don't
at
be
glass
shy.
darkly. Let's look and see each other clearly. Phil, what are you thinking?
All of my thinking is I started transcribing. Well, it had nothing to do with this, but I started transcribing Elder Tess's last week's Vesper. So I'm done with the one. I don't know how many I sent you, but I'm done with the one before where she talks about Reddit.
I think you sent 5.
5, okay. So I did one more after that. That I'm working on the last one that she did. And she seemed to imply that we should be going out to the Levites.
If I'm remembering, if that's the same place I heard her say it, she said we already are.
Yeah.
Did she say that? Okay.
Right.
She said that they were coming to us.
She said we were talking to them. That was the one that she
That's
just.
what she
did the
said. We were
last one.
talking to them
She
already.
said, we're already talking to them. And I started thinking, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So what does that mean?
I don't know, but my thoughts, I was thinking about that actually just today. Because for some of us, many of us, we were still in churches talking to people. That's one thing I think that, that there's many that were still in churches, and we were in a church still until 2019. So when you realize that God brought this message to the Seventh-day Adventist church, right? And it's given to the Seventh-day Adventist church in this history, and they reject it. So you've got all the rest of this history. You've got some of us that have been talking to different people, but we also have all the videos out there. So I don't know if that's what she meant, because I'm only thinking from my own experience, and I know there are other people with other experiences, but David, I think, said it the way she said it. Is that?
Yeah, I just heard it today.
That we're already talking to them. Is that how you said it?
Yeah, that's what she said. And how I was kind of getting that was because watching their class and listening to their people, and I don't know the names of all their people, but there was one lady in there relating to how she had been discussing something with another Adventist lady. And, she's like all of us, not having everything all in a beautiful package, but she is already discussing certain things. And I didn't get how these subjects were coming up, but this was what was happening. And so that's where I kind of got it, that just from watching her class, that some of these people were relating to talking to other Adventists. And I don't know how they see these, they must be in an area where they know a bunch of Adventists that are in the churches, or they're going to those churches, or somehow, but they're rubbing shoulders with them and talking certain subjects. So I got it, gleaned it from her classes.
Yeah, and Sarah put in there too that she believes it's through that we're already talking to them, that the movement is already talking to them, and she thinks it's through the YouTube videos. That's what I was thinking too, because the message was already given to them. And I've kind of sat and thought I think we all talked about this a while back when we were in the church. Christine and Francisco weren't there yet, but when we first started coming in to understand the 2520 and join the movement, we were trying to share with people in there, and I knew enough to know that the 2520 was a really hot topic, that there's a lot of different beliefs within the Adventist church, but that one is like, you can go around and talk about all this other crazy stuff, but if you talk about the 2520, you're going to get a reaction. And so I was kind of cautious in how to share, but I was basically found out right away. So then they bring in Steve Wahlberg and totally counter it's like, if you were to look at it from pull back the telescope and look at it, it's like the vaccine was entering into Sac Central Church, right? You got this vaccine that's coming in, and you got the anti-vaxxers that say, oh, no, that can't come in. We got to go in there and blast that out. So They bring in Steve Wahlberg to blast it. So I'm thinking that's gone on in other, maybe not every individual church, but in key places, and then conference wide. Because I know I've heard people say that, and others probably can attest to this, I don't know, I just heard people say that it came down from the conference, that if anybody talks about the 2520, deal with it and squash it. Those are my words. I don't remember how I was told, but so they were getting it, but we know that they have an opportunity to accept it before Sunday law. So that's what she said, is that the movement is already talking to them. I'm thinking what she meant was talking to them through, I didn't ask, and we could ask, maybe she'll clarify more this weekend, but that they are, the YouTube videos, everything's out there. Everything's out there. You know what I mean? It's out there for everybody that wants it.
That's one of the things that, now that you say that reminded me of one of those Australian students in that class, said that she was talking to one of the Adventists, and the Adventist goes, well, if you have all this knowledge and these different things,
why are you hiding it?
Doing? Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, why are you hiding
and
it?
Then her answer was what? Well, it's not being hidden. It's all over the internet. And that's how this particular lady had found it. So I think that's one avenue. God's probably using a lot of avenues, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
Because I think way back to Elder Jeff and what happened in 1996 and kind of that time frame was previously to the time of the End magazine. You all may know this, but they were writing articles, and there was a bunch of articles coming out like once a month or something. And Elder Jeff was like mailing these articles like wholesale out to Adventist pastors back then. And so they were all getting this stuff, whether they were throwing it in the trash immediately or whatever they were doing. There was a wholesale bit of knowledge when they were developing the Time of the End magazine back then that was getting to the Adventist leadership.
It was. And
that was happening.
And remember, Christine, Pastor Dana coming up to me, and it was a funny conversation, but he started talking about this and that, and then all of a sudden he starts bringing up Jeff Pippinger's name. And after about the third time he brought up Jeff Pippinger's name, I said, I'm not supposed to talk about that, right? And he said, oh, yeah. Pastor Chris told me all about that. And, and then he says what he says. And then I don't remember if it was in the same time, the same conversation, but I think it was. But he was I think it was in that same conversation. He told me that he was at that, and there's a video out there. David and Kathy might know where it's at. I know I watched it, but it's been a long time. it was like in 2003, I think it was, where Elder Jeff took, they gathered, it wasn't Elder Jeff was there, but they gathered, there was all these issues with Daniel 11:40 to 45. If I remember, somebody else may remember better.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
You don't have to say no more.
Kathy says, oh yeah, she woke up. Yeah, for sure. Don't have to say anymore.
I know exactly what you're gonna say. They had these, well, maybe I'm wrong, but it was Elder Jeff and, someone from Andrews had done his thesis or whatever on Daniel 11:40 to 45. And they had invited a bunch of big wigs from the church to come and hear the two sides, you know, what Jeff had to say and what the Andrews professor had to say. Is that the one? And
I am
I don't
pretty
know.
sure it's the same thing. I keep thinking Oklahoma, but maybe it was, but it's not Oklahoma.
Yeah, that was in Oklahoma. It happened in Oklahoma.
Okay.
But it wasn't a bunch of different people speaking. It was just Jeff and the professor from Andrews, each giving their,
Okay. Yeah.
and I couldn't, Jeff sent me the set of stuff and they were on like VHS cassette. You know, that's how long ago that was.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even listen to it. It was just one of those things where the guy from Andrews was just talking foolishness and nothing that was true. You know, I mean, as far as what we understood, Jeff was the first angel. He preached the first angel's message, and we have to respect and honor that, you know, especially way back then. I mean, I don't know where in that, and I don't know if it was 2000. Well, yeah, it might have been around that because we came in about 2005, and I think it was right before, but I think that's what you're talking about, and I don't know what your point is. I'm sorry, didn't mean to go on and on, but
it's okay. I'm pretty sure it was 2003 or 2004. Might have been 2004. So you're right that if I remember right, that it was just the two that spoke, but they invited all these experts in Adventism on Daniel, on Daniel. So they all come there. So anyways, so Pastor Dana was one that was invited to go there. And he said that he didn't receive his Time of the End magazine in advance, that they were all given in advance. So he wasn't really pre-schooled on what was going on. And so anyway, so it was presented and then rejected.
Right.
Right. And yeah, by big wigs, you know, by people who would go back to, you know,
and then
that would be the block.
And then right after you have the 2520 open up.
Right.
So the message is out there. It's all on the internet for anybody to see. How, you know, look at how we all came along. How did we all find it? Oh, I wrote it up here. Communication technology, right? So what was on the big line, when you're tracing that line, what came in 1989 for communication?
World Wide Web.
Say that again.
World Wide Web, internet.
Yep. So you've got the World Wide Web and the internet opens up, and that's the method that when she laid out that communication technology, that's the method that God designed for this final message to go. And so it's all out there on the internet. I don't know what it looks like if we still go back to the churches or not. the way she said it, it kind of sounds like, well, I've been wondering about that. You know, what does it look like? Do we go back there, or is it out there? I mean, some of us have all still tried to communicate here and there, probably with somebody, you know, some of our friends, and we've seen that they reject it, or however you know, everybody's experience and such. So, so I don't know what it looks like. I don't have that answer other than what we know and what she said. If that, I think that was a question, right? That was asked.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I kind of enjoyed doing this. It was good review.
Well, I'm glad
thank you.
that you did do this, because Tamina has another set of presentations. It's called the Judgment of the Living, I think. And in that presentation, she says, we need to know how to defend our waymarks. And I don't. Because all the, you know, so I just accept them. But, you know, like we did, you know, 89, how did that 89 come about? You know, 1989, how did 9/11 come about? You know, because we weren't here back then. You know, we were here, you know, for the development of the Sunday law and increase of knowledge and the formulation of the Sunday law, and forward from there. And, you know, but I have bits and pieces of ideas, you know, like from the Millerite lines. But like after in Tamina's lines, her second line is 1844, not 1840. So it's like, okay, how did she get to 1844 and not 1840? Now, today we put 18 because, you know, symbols can mean more than one thing. And so I don't know, you know, what she was talking about when the second waymark was 1844 and not 1840. Because I remember in our line just now, you put both together, 1840 and 1844 in the waymark of 9/11. I think you erased that already.
I did, but I did it because I had to think it through and wasn't. I know that it can line up with both, but it's April 19, 1844. I think, is that what
right?
You put? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when do you put that, and when do you put the 1840?
I think the 1840 is when you're looking at their full big line. I think, because that's where you have the first angel empowered and the arrival of the second angel and the proving, is that the right word to use? The confirming of the methodology of line upon of a day equals a year.
Yeah.
And that was 1840. But I think there's other. I don't. There's. I know initially they used to put both of them together. The April 19, 1844. And that's a whole. I remember it, but I just don't remember how you. I remember it from it being the 6-month period that you have from April 19 to October 20, October 22. All these numbers going through my head. It's like basic ones I can't even remember. So you April 19 to October 22, you had 6 months, and then in the great controversy where she talks about midway between, which is where we got July 21st, which is opens up to a whole nother study to where you get the midpoints. So she took those April 19 to 40 to 8 to October 22nd, and then July 21st, and that's what led to the Civil War and all those other studies. So August or April 19 and August 11th, 1840. I think it depends. I don't want to, maybe you watch her and see how she explains it, because she probably knows it better than I do. But they were put at both at 9/11. They were put both at 9/11. And I don't remember how you got to April 19 being at 9/11. But I know how I remember 1840 gets placed at 9/11 based on Islam.
Right, that's the one I remember. 1840, August 11th, 1840. That's the waymark that preceded 9/11 on line upon line.
Yeah. So if you get that answer, you can let us know. We should have somebody else do this. We do it together, but somebody else lead it. I think it'll help us. As Phil said, we need to be able to defend our waymarks. So be thinking on that. It was, I want to say it was actually kind of fairly easy, but we had help. You guys helped us. It's just a whole bunch of pieces that put together. So, but if somebody else wants to think about that, we'll do it together. I'll zip my mouth and somebody else lead out and answer and ask the questions, and we'll have a bigger crowd. We can do this on another, like maybe on a Sabbath, and where there's more of us there so that we can defend our waymarks, as you said.
Yeah, I agree. That would be a good practice.
Yeah. Worthy study.
Because actually, when you do this, all some of the stuff that we do, much of the stuff that we do know starts to come in, because we start to, when we get into this line, we can start this to be the priest line. We know those external things that were going on. We understand 2016 and the election, right? We understand 2014 and the purging of the Republican Party and the judges, right? We understand those things. So we can get these things more solid in us to be able to share them with others when they come and ask.
There's nothing on the schedule for Friday, April 22nd.
Sounds good. Now what we need is a volunteer. Thinking I put it in an email, but I don't know if I want to do that, huh?
I think Kathy was volunteering.
No, she wasn't exactly volunteering.
Well, I'll stand up there and ask people to fill in the blanks.
Oh, you will, huh?
I don't know that I'll have the answers if they don't, but I'll stand up there.
Ask the questions. Make somebody else
I
fill it
can
in.
draw a line on the board.
Yeah, I'll get our board out here, huh?
Let's go ahead and close in prayer. Phil, would you like to pray?
Our holy God, Lord, you're awesome. We give you praise, and Lord, it's just we're in awe of how you deal with your people, how you lead us, how you guide us and teach us, and bring back to memory all the things that we have learned. There's just so much, Lord. All the way from 1989 and here we are now. And some of us, go way back, and some of us not so way back. But as we watched all the videos, the presentations, that were presented long ago, and we watched the newer ones, as we constantly watch, Lord, all these information that you are teaching us all along the way have somehow been stored and filed away in our memories. And as we did tonight, as we practice, as Elaine has put forth this study, and as we participate, we start pulling things out of our minds that we didn't even know we had, and because we've studied them and we've been at one time familiar with them, so we're just so grateful, Lord, that how you are leading us. And honestly, no, I don't know what going to the Levites look like and what that means. As we studied the communications from Pax Romana, the 200 years of peace, and then the printing press with Luther's time, and then the trains and the steamboats, and how the information and the telegraph, and how this information gets out, and now it's through the web. So, Lord, we know that it sounds like that our primary way of getting out the information is through the internet. And if we get to talk to people, then it's like one-on-one, but primarily it sounds like it's through the internet. So, Lord, may we continue to study, may we continue to practice, may we continue to participate, may we continue to come forward and volunteer and transcribe and use the whiteboard, whether the whiteboard be on computer or the whiteboard be on a wall. So just want to thank you, Lord, for leading us and giving us the glimpse of the nature of the kingdom, and the nature of the king. And Lord, we know a hard time is going to come when we stand up with the people that are being oppressed. But that just excites us even more, because we know that time when you come to, finally end this controversy, it's near, and we get to participate in it. And so we just want to thank you, Lord, for all your goodness and your mercy. So as we part now and meet again Friday, we just continue to ask. No, wait a minute. We don't meet on Friday. We have the camp meeting coming up, Eden to Eden. So we ask that you'll bless the camp meeting, bless the elders, the translators, the internet, the web, and all the devices that are being used, so that we can continue to listen, absorb, and participate and learn. So thank you, Lord. In Yeshua's wonderful name we pray. Amen.
Amen.